Welcome to the 24th National Philanthropy Day Luncheon. Today we are going to recognize the impact of philanthropy and those involved in the philanthropic process and who have made it possible in our community. I'm Debbie Rice, and I'm the president of our Western North Carolina chapter of AFP, the Association of Fundraising Professionals. All over the country, philanthropy is being celebrated largely this week by each of the more than 32,000 local chapters of AFP. As an international association, we have highlighted outstanding individuals and organizations in philanthropic endeavors since 1980. In Western North Carolina, we have honored the local accomplishments in the name of giving since 1992. Today, we thank those of you who are truly outstanding in philanthropy. It takes all of us, philanthropists, nonprofits, for-profits, donors, and volunteers collectively to make a difference. We will hear more about such collaborations later today from our honorees. This day would not be possible without the very generous support of all of the sponsors. You can find them listed in your program in detail. But I'd like Dr. Michael Dempsey to come up to the podium. Dr. Dempsey is the Dean and Director of Lenore-Ryan University's Center for Graduate Studies here in Asheville. Lenore-Ryan has been a very strong and supportive partner to the Association of Fundraising Professionals today and throughout the year. Once again, they are our lead sponsor for the National Philanthropy Day Luncheon, and we sincerely thank them. Roger Aiken and David Meyer of Wells Fargo Advisors have consistently sponsored our distinguished awardees, and they have done so again this year. So please give Roger and David a round of applause. You will recognize today's award recipients as they are wearing corsages. Additionally, those volunteers who helped on the National Philanthropy Day committees for award and for the event, and for the AFP Western North Carolina board members are also wearing a corsage. I'd like to ask each of those people to stand up so we can recognize you as a group, and if you would help me thank them for all their work in bringing us together today. It is a very special day. The mayor of Asheville provided a proclamation for today, so I wanted you to notice, I'm not going to read it, but it's so check my words. So we are really appreciative of being honored by our local government. We also have some other public officials that are here today, and I'm going to call their names so they can stand, and we can thank them for joining us in the name of philanthropy. John Agard of North Carolina House of Representatives, District 133. Did Chuck McGrady make it? He's our House of Representatives from District 117. Also Brian Turner, I saw him. In 2006, we honored Marshall Monroe with the very special Outstanding Fundraising Summit Award. Marshall was born in Houston, Texas. He graduated from the University of Texas in Austin, Hoover-Born, and he served the U.S. Army during World War II, as well as the Texas National Guard and the Army Reserves, and he retired as a lieutenant colonel. Marshall was not just a CFRE. He was one of the innovators and pioneers of the fundraising profession. During the 80s, Marshall served and was a leader of the AFP Association Board, the AFP Foundation Board, and was a member of the AFP Leadership Society. He also helped to found our AFP chapter here in Western North Carolina. Marshall was recognized early in his career that he wanted to make a difference in the world and was able to do this in executive positions with several major nonprofits, both locally, such as serving as the vice chair of St. Luke's Hospital Board and also the chair of the Pulleyn County Community Foundation, and nationally as the director of corporate planning and financial development for the YMCA of the USA. He held many other positions. He was soft-spoken, but a very serious professional who helped connect the Indiana University Lilly Family School of Philanthropy and AFP's predecessor organization, the National Society of Fundraising Executives. Those organizations have remained strong partners over the last 3 decades. He passed away this past September at the age of 89. He is survived by his wife, Bernadine, who's here with us today, as well as 2 daughters, a stepson, 6 grandchildren, and 7 great-grandchildren. Please join me in a moment of silence to honor his significant contributions to philanthropy and his precious memory. Thank you, and we appreciate Bernadine for being with us today. Now I'd like to ask Jackie Sims, the officiant from the Ethical Humanist Society of Asheville, to come forward to present our invocation. After that, we will enjoy our lunch and come back to acknowledge the issue of the holy.
Good afternoon. We gather here today for a special occasion to acknowledge the gifts of many on National Philanthropy Day. We gather as nonprofit and business leaders, paid employees and volunteers, providers and receivers, donors and recipients, at a time and a season of Thanksgiving. We gather to give thanks and to receive it. We gather to express appreciation and to accept it. We gather to honor those who generously share their bounty. We gather with loving, compassionate hearts, and we gather to partake of this meal. We ask that this food nourishes the body, and that this gathering of generous and grateful people nourishes the spirit, so that we may live our lives ever mindful of the needs of ourselves and others. May the spirit of life, love, justice, and compassion grow in us today and in the days to come. Let us eat. Don't stop eating whatever you do. Keep on. We're first going to award our honorees for outstanding philanthropists. This award honors an individual or family with a proven record of exceptional generosity who, through direct financial support, demonstrates outstanding civic and charitable responsibility. This year's Outstanding Philanthropist Award goes to Janna and Lutovsky. Recently, the Lutovskys made a gesture that truly embodies the spirit of philanthropy. The Authors for Literacy keynote speaker had asked families to join them in a gift of making a $500 gift to the Literacy Council.
and in return, the donors will be invited to a private reception. The Lutovskys were among the first to respond, even though they were unable to attend the private luncheon. They donated their spots at the reception to volunteer tutors who would otherwise be unable to attend. They are authors for Literacy Table Captains and Leader Circles members each year for the Literacy Council of Buncombe County. Rick and Janna are longtime peeps. They're my peeps. They're longtime peeps and leadership donors. In fact, they are diamond donors, donors who have given to the United Way for over 25 years or more. They support the YMCA's annual campaigns and are members of the Wise Endowment Fund's Heritage Club and are currently supporting their capital efforts to build an overnight resident camp in Swain County. In addition to giving philanthropically, both Kennon and Rick have served in countless volunteer leadership roles for each of the organizations mentioned, as well as countless others. I introduce you to Janna and Rick Lutovsky.
Thank you very much. As I look out over this crowd, I see most people who are standing here right now. I think that's what makes Asheville such a great place. There's so many people that are willing to give of their resources, their time, and their talent. And that's what it takes. You need to pick the organization or organizations that rest in that soft spot of the heart and give them your time and your commitment. We would not be standing here today if it was not for Janna's lifelong contribution and commitment to adult literacy. And this literacy concept, which is obviously one of the best in the country. My commitment is sent to the YMCA of Western North Carolina, which is one of the best wives in the country. We've been involved all of our lives with the United Way, and as you will hear a bit down in this program, we have one of the finest United Ways in the country. And we're also involved with one of the finest universities in the country, the University of North Carolina at Asheville. We're fortunate to have that in there. And as always, Janna gets the last word.
I just want to thank everyone for this wonderful honor. It's been an interesting year to finish off with anything more special. Thank you very much. Right now, the Literacy Council of Buncombe County has 90 students waiting to recruit. If you have any time that you'd like to vote for this, I know that it's for you. So give them a call. They're wonderful.
The award for Outstanding Volunteer Fundraiser honors an individual or family that demonstrates outstanding skills in coordinating and motivating groups of volunteers for fundraising projects for the benefit of charitable institutions. This year's Outstanding Volunteer Fundraiser Award goes to Rob Pulleyn. Rob escaped from Connecticut to attend a Midwest college, after which he moved to New Mexico. Failing as a documentary filmmaker, he and his wife started a retail, wholesale, and mail order business selling craft supplies. And now, naturally, Rob is committed to advancing the arts in Western North Carolina. After moving to Madison County, he became a part of the movement to save the old Madison County High School that had been vacant since 1974. And that many saw as an eyesore. But the visionary that Rob is, he saw potential. He purchased the building and converted the space into 28 craft studios and gallery within a year. Rob offers visiting dancers a place to stay as his guest house. He serves on the board of the Arthur Morgan School, helping launch the first ever fundraising campaign for the school. He has inspired new levels of giving from the board. His coaching on donor cultivation and how to make an ask with comfort is invaluable. Rob is board chair of the Pulleyn School of Crafts and also chairs the 30 Million campaign for Pulleyn's future. He is a previous board chair of the Asheville Art Museum and current member of the Arts North Carolina Board. A former board member of the North Carolina Arts Council and the Center for Craft Creativity and Design, an organization which he helped establish a new home and a revitalized future in Asheville. From small gestures to grand gestures, Rob steps forward to say he will help. Rob.
I don't know who that was about. But about 12 or 15 years ago, I got a phone call from the executive director of an organization that I've been involved with to a certain extent. And she said she wanted to come and take me out to lunch and make an ask. And no one had ever asked me before, so I didn't know what that really meant. She said I would have to stretch. And I think I figured out what that meant. She came, and I thought about it well in advance of what would a stretch for me be. And so I was prepared, but she obviously gone to workshops, so she knew how to make an ask, which was to make it before I got to say anything. So she made an ask that was 10 times what I had intended to give, and then she added, and I want you to do that every year for 5 years. And in my head I was saying, you are crazy. You can't do that, it's not fair. But my mouth said, let's do it. I don't know how I said that, but what was profound to me was the sense of exhilaration and pride that I felt when I did that. I fulfilled my obligation, but I also realized that that little event, which was, I felt really good and empowered and happy, she felt happy, and the organization got money, and I thought, this is a really nice little system. I'd like to get in on it. So I started saying, well, I'll go and make an ask because this will be fun. And no one has ever hit me. And it's just become a habit, I guess. And the thing that is frustrating me sometimes is that more trustees aren't willing to do it. They have this mortal fear of making an ask. And I don't think they realize how much fun it is. It's not as much fun as an audit committee, but it's fun. So, thank you very, very much.
Board is adding to their nominations. The award for Youth in Philanthropy honors an individual or group of young people between the ages of 5 and 21 who demonstrate outstanding commitment to the community, especially in light of their attitudes and values to direct financial support, development of charitable programs, and leadership. This year's Outstanding Youth in Philanthropy Award goes to Raxter. Was an intern through her high school for Park Ridge Health Foundation, assuming leadership responsibilities such as securing silent and live auction items and coordinating directly with sponsors and guests. The next year, while in college at UNCA, she volunteered yet again, taking the lead in promoting the Park Ridge Health Foundation Experience Scotland Gala and connecting new people and organizations to Park Ridge Health. Since she was 7 years old, Megan has volunteered with the Asheville Antique Car Club, and as an older youth, she planned their annual car show benefiting the Shriners Children's Hospital in Greenville, South Carolina. She volunteers for Make-A-Wish Foundation, assisting in granting wishes to children with life-threatening illness. She raised funds for Operation Welcome Home, which supports the Veterans Restoration Quarters and Steadfast House in Western North Carolina. She volunteers at First United Methodist Church in Hendersonville in the nursery, teaching the 3- and 4-year-old Sunday school curriculum. In her spare time, she enjoys arts and crafts, researching her family through genealogy, and attending Tennessee and Clemson football games. Megan Raxter.
blessing to be able to serve my wonderful community. I feel like this is something that I've done all my life and it comes naturally. When I was a little kid, I can remember doing community service with my dancing school and working charity dancing car club shows with my parents. And here I am now, many years later, having developed a love and passion for philanthropy. My most recent acts of service have been with Parkridge Health Foundation. What started out as a senior year internship, going on 3 years later, has grown into a long-term volunteer relationship. The ladies of the Parkridge Foundation have taught me so much about philanthropy and giving back. I originally came to the foundation to help them with their annual fundraising gala. Little did I know, they would help me choose an educational path and someday help with my career choice. They've been such wonderful mentors to me. So thank you to Parkridge for this opportunity and everything you do for me. And thank you all for this award.
The award for Outstanding Business and Philanthropy honors a business or corporation that demonstrates outstanding commitment through financial support and motivation of others to take philanthropic leadership. This year's Outstanding Business and Philanthropy Award goes to Champion Comfort Experts, owned by Richie and Amy Holt. The company's vision is to be the only company customers think of when needing maintenance, repairs, or installation for their heating and cooling systems, and to be a company that the best installers and service technicians aspire to work for. Back in 2009, Henderson County Public Schools eliminated the outdoor education program, a program where fifth graders spent time outdoors. Champion Comfort Experts donated funds to bring this program back. Today, the outdoor education program remains intact in the fifth grade curriculum to this very day. They have partnered with Clear Creek Elementary for school enrichment programs and sponsored their golf holes for Bruce Drysdale Elementary, Clear Creek Elementary, and Hendersonville Middle School. They provide lunch for Teacher Appreciation Days across the county. Champion Comfort Experts provide scholarships for 8th graders at Hendersonville Middle School so they can go on the Washington, D.C. trip. Because of their passion for education, Amy Holt serves on the Henderson County Public School Board. In addition to serving on that board, she serves on the board of Parkridge Health Foundation and Hope RX. Champion Comfort Experts also install heating and air conditioning for residents who have had hardships and couldn't afford service calls or installations. Richie and Amy Holt.
My husband talk because I don't like to do this, but I just wanted to publicly thank my mom and Richie's mom for instilling the want and the desire to give back to people. We learned it through our parents. And I'd also like to thank our team at work, who's so awesome every time. You know, I say we're going to do a United Way Day of Caring, and we get volunteers to do that. And my kids, thanks for letting us drive you around to deliver food to people when they can't afford it around Christmas time, and always going with such a great smile and excited to do it. Parkridge, thank you so much for nominating us for this award, and David and Sharon from Henderson County Public Schools, thank you so much for partnering with us.
Well, she pretty much said it all. She told my husband. We just appreciate it. It's such an honor. And in 2004, when we decided to open our company, one of our biggest visions was how we were going to give back to the community and to be awarded for some of the things that we've done. We just, when we got nominated, we were like, we never really know how to get nominated. But we appreciate it, and thank you very much for doing it.
The next award is for the Roberson, T. Kennon Roberson Award for Management Excellence in Nonprofit Health and Human Services. This year's award winner is Reverend Judith Long. Judith has quietly and steadily become a respected advocate throughout the region and the state for programs that help our neighbors who fall through the cracks of our healthcare system. Last year, the Free Clinics was one of 4 clinics in the nation recognized for its quality improvement program. Of the 4, Judy was chosen by AmeriCares to present quality improvement in a free clinic setting at a national conference. She received the 2015 Athena Leadership Award for Henderson County. In 2007 and 2008, she led a $1.8 million capital campaign to construct a new home for the free clinics, which more than tripled the space of their former location. Jason Mason, a program officer with the KP Reynolds Charitable Trust, said this about Judy. When you begin to journey down the road of changing the status quo, you need leaders that possess vision and can effectively articulate that vision to a diverse group. Judy is one of those leaders who did that during a challenging period of transition for free clinics. She has taken the leadership roles with most every health organization in the community and the surrounding areas. Judy Long.
Thank you. And Debbie, thank you for, after hearing those quotes, it's hard to speak. I've been doing nonprofit work for over 25 years. I started when I was about 8. I have the best job I've ever had and the best community I've ever lived in with the best people that I've ever worked with. And it is a joy and a blessing for me to work with my team. We, the free clinics in Henderson and Polk counties, are 272 volunteers, 143 healthcare partners, and my current and past board and staff, many of whom are here today. It is a team effort that we engage in conversations about health, how we can make sure that our neighbors, all of us, are included in the conversations about health, how we look at health as a holistic approach. And I want to thank my nominator, Colin Thomas, and another who is a past recipient here, and another of your members who is a past recipient here, Annie Fritchner, who's not here. They took a risk 10 years ago on a girl from Brooklyn and bringing her to a little town, Hendersonville, to take over a fledgling nonprofit that was a dream and a fantasy and a hope. And they weren't real sure about this girl from Brooklyn, but I hope I've made you proud. Thank you.
The Fundraising Summit Award is presented to a philanthropist, fundraising professional, group, foundation, corporation, or other entity which has, through their generosity, insight, expertise, hard work, and love of our community, made a transformational impact on Western North Carolina or the field of philanthropy. Taken in consideration is the entirety of a person's or organization's work, and life is an expression of gratitude for those who make extraordinary contributions. This year's Outstanding Fundraising Summit Award goes to the United Way of Ashevile-Buncombe County. For 90 years, the United Way has long supported innovative approaches to solving problems by talking about community needs, raising funds to address those needs, and directing grants to programs that demonstrate best practice and effective collaborations. United Way's 211 Center is the only national accredited 211 in North Carolina, which is a comprehensive directory by phone, online, or mobile application to anyone seeking information on our community's health and human services. Building the leadership capacity of the nonprofit community has been a particular interest. Its members work hard to identify and cultivate emerging leaders. Hands-on Ashevile-Buncombe, the Volunteer Center of United Way, engaged almost 3,000 volunteers last year alone. In the last 5 years, United Way has raised more than $25 million. The key to United Way's impact is the Unrestricted Community Investment Fund and their focus on making strategic investments that are changing lives. They engage community by utilizing volunteers and make investments that will have the best impact. Return on investment is measured by lives changed. David Bailey, President and CEO of United Way of Ashevile-Buncombe County.
You know, we hope to have a few happy moments in our day. There's a few times when we can experience real joy. Thank you for giving us, our staff and volunteers, real joy today. This is really blessed. I'm joined up here today by our current board chair, Dr. Leon Elliston. Thank you for your leadership, Leon. Our organization has been guided by a few key tenets over the last 90+ years. One, we've always had outstanding and dedicated staff. Thank you, staff, for your great work. I appreciate it very much. Their staff is built upon the efforts of prior staff, and so thank you for all those staff who've been with us. I want to give a special recognition of George Piper Sr., who led this organization for 15 years in the 80s and 90s. George passed away over the summer, and really we're working on what he did in the 80s and 90s. Joining us today are George Piper Jr. and his wife Jean. Thank you for what your father did for Western North Carolina for the United States. Our work has always been fueled by the passionate leadership of our donors, our advocates, volunteers. We're joined today by our board members, committee members, and a handful of past board chairs. Thank you so much for your leadership. You carried us through some really challenging transformations. We appreciate your hard work. I could shout out to lots of volunteers, but I did bring my special friend, Glenn Wilson. Glenn has been a donor, advocate, and volunteer for 15 years in our community, but for almost 60 years in local United Ways across the country. Glenn, I salute you for not just for when you move into a community, making sure that you create community by giving back to your community. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. I appreciate that. We have worked hard to make sure that we respond to the latest needs and utilize best practices within our culture of philanthropy and social change. Our volunteer center evolving in the hands of Ashevile-Buncombe County. First call for help, and the old Rolodex system to now 211, which is nationally accredited, allocations to a competitive grants process supporting education, income, and health results. Today, though, we also have to look forward to make sure that next year, 5 years from now, that we have continued to meet the needs that to meet the standards exemplified by this award. We are excited about our future. Let me share you one particular project we're excited about. Complex social problems cannot be solved by an individual program, organization, or intervention. Across our country, communities are implementing a collective impact approach to tackle issues like homelessness, safety, graduation rates, the 10-year plan in homelessness, the newly launched Family Justice Center. The strategies to address major health issues are great examples of collective impact strategies here at work in our community. Today, our United Way is serving as the backbone organization for the Ashevile-Buncombe Middle Grades Network, a collective effort at city schools, county schools, nonprofits like the YMCA, Open Doors, Big Brothers and Sisters, Girls on the Run, and others. Together, we are changing how our community approaches working with middle school youth, their families, and the community. This group is using data, ongoing communications, and a shared vision to wrap services around targeted communities based upon their specific needs. Currently, we're working at 3 pilot schools, Asheville, and Irwin Middle. We aspire to implement this at all middle schools. You'll hear more about this project in the months and years to come. We are excited to be the backbone organization for this collective impact strategy. It's been very successful in communities across the country. Thanks again for this recognition and for partnering with us to live out the values we share as individuals and as a community each day: generosity, compassion, and caring. Thank you.
Wow. Can I hear a wow? Wow. You think you can do a wave? Okay. All right. We have heard multiple examples today of the inspiring power of philanthropy in our community. Giving back to one's community is not always about monetary donations. As we have seen today in our local award winners, the National Philanthropy Day program recognizes individuals, businesses, and others who tap into their resources, including time and talent, to improve the lives of others. Philanthropy in Greek is defined as the love of humanity. The power of philanthropy lies in its ability to bring people of all backgrounds together and collectively make change. What needs do you see in our community? How can you put your passion into action to bring about effective change? Unrestricted funding, resources for the arts, a helping hand, a sustainable program, a safety net, or to build capacity. From our chapter of the Association of Fundraising Professionals, we thank each of you for being a part of philanthropy in Western North Carolina. Thank you for being here to celebrate with us today.